Welcome to 2021. Yeah, what's that song about? Welcome to the new year, same as the old year. Well, ah, I'm. How many of you who are showing up right now? Ah, I'm seeing my friends. Hello, Susanna. Hello, Meinrad. Hello. Oh, I'm seeing so many folks that I know. And is anybody for anybody? Is this your first time here? If it is, oh great. Well, welcome, Jen. Welcome. Very happy to see all of you. Well, today I wanted to spend more time on fear melters, including love scoops, and then add in some loop of awareness. Because if you're anything like me, last week you were mostly like, so like my eyeballs were just like, oh my God. So take a moment and just notice which of the fear signatures have you been most experiencing in the last few days. So let's just try them on. So there's been a lot of fight. Okay, so just try on your version of fight. So for me, I get my jaw really tight and I come forward and it's like what the hell, or what the F is. So see if that feels familiar. And also notice the adrenaline that comes with it. Okay, and have you also been like, oh, I just can't pay any attention to this. I've got to go do something else. Have you been heading toward the refrigerator, or have you been uh, consuming all kinds of things, have been ordering online? There are different ways of fleeing. So you could also just be sort of rising above it. So that's also a form of flee. So notice if you in your body, you notice any flee going on. My particular favorite is freeze. So notice if you experienced any, that your motion stopped, that your breath stopped, that your body has gotten tense. So that's a freeze. You can also get, I've been noticing sort of eye freeze or face freeze. So my face is kind of frozen in shock, like, and I can feel that down in my neck, that sense of, that. So and then of course there's overwhelm and confusion and what is going on. And so that's a faint where you're feeling more like, oh, I just need to go and take a nap. So you might have one of those predominantly, but you might have a combo going of those. And when you're in fear, one of the reasons I'm so happy that we're doing this is because the purpose is to move from fear to love through presence. Because we don't move from fear to love with more fear, which is what has been going on. And the escalation has really been like a 3D illustration of what I've been exploring and talking about over the last 5 years, is that when you're fueling yourself from adrenaline, the adrenaline wears off and then it has to escalate and escalate and escalate until things are blowing up. And things could have blown up last week, literally. So and they did, and in a certain way. So I wanted to, first of all, just as some of you are already moving around, but for those of you who aren't, you can do fear melters while you're seated. So I'd like you, one of my favorites is oozing, taking oozing through any places where you're feeling things had just gotten bunched. When you, like bodybuilders whose muscles can't move, they're all bunched up. Feel if there's any bunching up in you that you can move. Just send some oozing through it. Just imagine that you're in the ocean, you're seaweed in the ocean, and you can ooze. I like to especially ooze through my shoulders, but you can ooze through your neck and you can ooze through your mouth. and you can ooze through your fingers. I usually wiggle my fingers, but you can also ooze your fingers. And then sumo, what you can do while you're seated to feel sumo is to just shift from one sits bone to the other and feel your sits bones. So feel the bottom of your pelvis. And I'm on a chair that bounces. That's why I'm going up and down. So I can feel a sumo by doing that. You can also go with your feet. You can bounce your feet. When I do that, I can feel my computer is moving and the whole room is moving. Yeah, I'm really getting it going. So notice, I'm noticing just as I'm doing these, I'm starting to feel more flow. And so I'd like you to check and just notice as you're doing this, are you feeling more flow? And then, of course, you can do love scoops, both intentionally, but also with your body, is to reach out. The important thing about love scoops is that you're engaging your whole body, because we know when you engage your torso, you are actually activating more of your neuromuscular system. So for a moment, just do love scoops with your arms, just like windmills, just doing love scoops with your arms, and notice that it doesn't have the same effect. So often when people are saying, well, I'm doing love scoops, and I'd say, well, actually you're windmilling right now, which is useful for like if you want to exercise your arms, but it's not love scoops. So love scoops, you actually want to engage your torso and reach out and bring in some love, and then bring it to the place where you're most wanting connection in you. And you can do that with touch. You can scoop love and you can shower it over you. You can give yourself drops of love, spritzers. You could be oozing and spritzing. You could start to combine your fear melters. And the point is 2 minutes. So we've already done longer than 2 minutes, but just 2 minutes is going to give you a shift in your presence. So my strong recommendation, and I plan to do this for a course I'm starting this week, is to set a timer. So set a timer for yourself for every half an hour, every hour, and do some love scoops and some other fear melters. So if you give yourself a 2-minute break and whatever else you're doing, and just reset by coming back into fear melters, you've increased your ability to respond, your ability to actually engage with what's going on. Now, I also think it's very important that we shift our bodies, because we have our one of the things that's happening right now is that people are getting totally disembodied and becoming head centric. So it's also great to do, you can do oozing, you can do wiggling. I think I forgot wiggling in the love screw in the fear melter. So you can do wiggling when you're frozen. You can combine wiggling with scoops, but just the sense of moving your whole body. When I'm doing that, I can do sumo more fully. And I can do sumo wiggling. So combining fear melters with each other is incredibly powerful, but simply interrupting a pattern that you're in is also incredibly useful. And it doesn't take very long to shift back into presence. So I want to add to that now the incredible power of shifting your attention. Because when you shift your attention, you're giving yourself, you're refreshing your whole self. You're refreshing your body, you're refreshing your mind, you're refreshing your emotions. So notice, where has your attention mostly been in the last few days? So I certainly know that for me, my attention has been on what's going to happen next? And so I've been really making sure that I'm returning attention to me. Because the circulation, just go ahead and let your hands do this. Just one hand out and one hand back to you, and one hand out. So that rhythm, you can eventually give attention out and give attention to you. And when you're beginning, when you give attention out, like you're noticing what's going on around you, you can get sucked up into that, which is why I suggest you use the other hand. You have the other hand just to remind you, hello, over here, give some attention to you. And I'd like you to let yourself give some sensitive awareness. So that's one of the definitions of appreciation. So notice when you're getting ready to give sensitive awareness, like you're noticing something you haven't noticed before. In fact, notice something in the space around you that you haven't noticed in a while, and just give your sensitive awareness to it, getting curious about it. And you can create a hmm. The is really valuable to open up wonder and curiosity. So you're humming. I'm noticing the spirals of a lamp that I have that I hadn't really noticed in a while. And then I'd like you to return your attention to you and let your attention circulate in your body and be watching for, sensing into any part of your body that's going, ooh, ooh, me, give me some attention. And go ahead and give your attention with that kind of sensitive awareness of, how are you doing? What's going on? And being with. And if it helps to touch, if it helps to breathe. So, some of the things I notice that really assist me to shift my attention are slowing down, letting my breath move with my awareness. So, when I'm letting my attention shift out, I let it land and I take a breath, like, ah. And then when I let attention come to me, I breathe in to wonder about where my body wants attention. And then how is my body communicating to me? How are you noticing your body? How is your body calling for your attention? So my area, right, my low ribs in my back was going me. And so I'm doing a little love scoop and bringing it to my ribs. So I'd like you to add in now breathing, noticing if you give yourself a chance to breathe all the way out, shifting your attention, landing. And if you feel a little flurry of adrenaline, just go ahead and go into love scoops again. You can combine love scoops and other fear melters, wiggling and oozing and sumo, with shifting your attention. And so as you're doing that, let yourself play with shifting to a fear melter that you don't use very often. So when you come back to you, let yourself come back to a fear melter that you don't use. I'm guessing for some of you that would be sumo. So you can do bouncing your heels when you come back to you and then noticing, ah, how that opens up. Other kinds of fear melters you want to do. And I want to encourage you this week to give yourself more attention for you than for out there, because there's a lot pulling your attention right now. And for you to be able to actually respond, make sure you have filled your own reservoir. So let's just in this last minute, I'd like you to imagine your feet in your own love pool, and your love kiddie pool that you have, that you're wiggling your toes in and you're bouncing your feet in. And I'd like you to reach down and get yourself a bunch of love and then let it just pour over you. And then let yourself wiggle it on down through your body and on down through your feet so that you can feel your feet in your love pool. And my intention is to kind of carry my love pool around with me, so that wherever I go, I've got my little love pool in my, that I can wiggle my feet in and feel myself. Love is available. Love is present for me. So I wanted to also let you know that in the chat, so Michelle, do we have those links up in the chat? Thank you. I've been noticing that, as I've been looking at news and looking at things on social media, that our Congress people here in the States are experiencing a lot of trauma. And they've even been talking about it in public. And so what I want to do is to send resources to them. And so in the chat, we've put 3 resources that I would love to have you send to your representatives, anybody that you know that can help, and also staff and frontline workers that were affected by the attempted coup last week. Because these our Restoring Resourcefulness program, the Harmonizer, especially Harmonizer, is a musical. It is a way. It's kind of effortless meditation, and especially if you listen to it through headphones, it really does help balance you, bring you a sense of coming home to yourself, and you don't have to do anything. You can just listen to it, and it will help transform. So I would love to have you share that widely. And I also want to challenge you, just like I do. I want to challenge you to bring your fear melters with you. Share them with people. Like when someone shares something with you, you can go, whoa, whoa, that was a big one. So that you're not just being stoic. So take a moment and just get stoic, like, I can handle it. It's all right. We can push through. And then and notice how much effort that takes. And now I'd like you to just go ahead, blah, 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 wiggles, fear melters. And so I want you to disrupt where you are in public in favor of presence, in favor of people coming home to themselves, in favor of presence. And thank you so much for being with us this morning. And I am going to head out here. And you're welcome to stay and chat with each other. And in fact, now how about everybody can unmute yourself and say what you'd like to.